The whole system is corrupt. Every financial system has winners and losers, and corruption is just a way of expressing whether or not the rules are fair. And if you consider the rules fair or not depends on where you are in the system and if you have been able to get an alpha in the system. So yes, markets are corrupt. It is unfair. Life is unfair. Just figure ways to beat the market and be more informed than the rest. That's my comment here. I'm not a fan of corruption. I'm not a fan of playing unfair, obviously, but it's the reality, right? We have to figure ways to beat others, and that's by being more informed than others. And that's actually a more fundamental thing that I actually want to talk about. In the end, right, there is the academics that say that markets are efficient, right? That we have all the info already priced in, and that all public information is priced in, and that there is no gains to be made in a market unless you're an insider. But really, what the academics are saying here when markets are efficient is, what they're leaving out rather is that it's people that make the markets efficient. So some people obviously made money to make the market efficient. So it's really a player versus player game in the end. It's really trying to figure out things that most people don't know. And so the key to outperformance is trying to ride the gray zone. It's trying to find information that's hard to get. It's not necessarily to find illegal information, right? We don't want to cross the barrier of becoming illegal and getting jailed for anything, getting any kind of punishment. But there is a huge gray zone where money is to be made, right? So let's take a crypto example. If I watch a YouTuber, like say a YouTuber that always promotes small altcoins, that pumps and dumps on the audience, right? A YouTuber that buys a small altcoin, a micro cap, buys a lot of the supply, then afterwards makes a video about that small altcoin. And after he made the video, the altcoin goes up because all the followers, all the subscribers, they bought into the altcoin. The altcoin goes up and the YouTuber seems to be like a prophet. He looks like Jesus, right? He talks about a thing and suddenly it goes up because all the subscribers bought in. And then he dumps on the audience because he bought the token earlier. He then afterwards sells, right? This is known as pump and dump, and this could also be known as, say, corrupt trading. And I've never done it, and I never will do. But I still made money from that concept, and here is how. Many of those people that make those kind of videos, they will tell you, I am so convinced in this project, I put in $100,000 of my own money. So they are completely transparent about this. They say, last week I bought $100,000 of this coin. And the coin maybe has a market cap of only $1 million. Right? So he bought a lot of the supply. And he says this publicly. When that happens, right, what we can do now, what I can do now, what we did in the bull market, is we can have a look at the on-chain metrics. There's actually a tool for that in the premium membership, an on-chain tool, where we can have a look at what wallets bought that many tokens or that many US dollars worth of the token in that particular time frame. And so then we just have a look at what wallet bought $100,000 worth of a token of this microcap in the last week. And then we get maybe 1, 2, 3 results. Who knows? Maybe we only get one wallet, then we've got already the wallet. Maybe we get 2 or 3 wallets, then we have to narrow down what's actually the wallet of the influencer. But with analytics, we can find out the wallet of the influencer. And so what we then can do is we can set up alerts, right? We can set up alerts whenever this influencer is now buying again another token, another small token worth $100,000, then there's a good chance that this influencer is going to make another video again about this in the future. And then the token will rally. And this is how we made money in premium during the bull market, right? When a lot of new people enter the space, they don't really know how it works. We can make money off that. Now, this is getting an information edge. In theory, right, all of the data is public. It's a public blockchain. And this YouTuber made the public announcement. I bought that token. And using the public announcement, we connected the dots and figured out the wallets. And we figured out what he's buying. And the buying was also public. It was on the blockchain. We used public data in order to have an information edge versus most people, because most people don't go those steps. Most people don't know how to do it, or they don't want to put in the effort to learn it, or they don't have the tools, or they don't want to build the tools, or they don't have the idea of doing this in the first place. And so that's where the alpha then is created, right? You can understand hopefully how this works. It's not just randomly buying based on lines. It's not just guessing the macro, it's actually having an information edge. It's trying to figure out what are market movers doing and when are they going to move the market. And so it's with that with any market, right? You want to have an information edge. You want to know why you should be the person that outperforms. And the money is always made in the gray zone, right? There's hedge funds that have bought satellite images of farms that figured out, okay, how great is today's harvest versus, say, the harvest in the last years, to then anticipate where commodity prices might be going. It's just getting the information that is public or that can be gotten when the steps are taken to get an information edge. And so then markets become efficient by people. So markets are not as per default efficient, they become efficient. And so what is really corrupt? Is it corrupt to get this additional information, have the market edge? Is it corrupt to find this influencer wallet and then dump on the innocent audience that the influencer himself is already dumping on? I'm not sure, right? It's always about if you have more return than the average market participant, right? If you make more than buying and holding, then per default, you're taking the money from somebody else, right? Everything that's above the market return, everything that's above that return is taken from somebody else. So you're part of the few winners at the expense of most losers. And so it is a player versus player game. It is competition. It is winning money from somebody else. You're taking money from somebody else that might not be as smart, that might not put in as much effort. There's many reasons for why you are outperforming, but you are more skilled, you are more informed, you are making more money. And if that's not the case, then it's simply because you don't have the edge, right? And the edge is created through knowledge, through skills, through knowing people, through getting information that most people don't have. And ideally, you get that information not in the black area. You don't do traditional finance and try to find the next annual report that most people don't have and trade based on that. Ideally, you just get more information by putting in more effort than others. A long-winded answer to a question that I think needs addressing, because most people don't really understand how alpha is generated, how outperformance is really generated. Would you consider introducing a take profit on the strategy to lock in profits when it hits certain deviations? That's probably related to the trend followers. I would only consider that if we have a good rule for that. So I try to follow rule sets. I don't try to do any kind of trading based on just gut feel. I try to always have a thesis of why things should do better long term, right? I bet on falling altcoins because they have token unlocks, because they have insiders selling, or because they are very high, relatively speaking, in their trading ranges. And I try to follow trends based on the backtest. And so if I have a backtested way to take profit earlier, a certain rule that says, okay, if you are in profit by that degree, then historically it was a great time to take profit and sell Bitcoin even if we are above the moving average, then I might do so. But I need to have a trading rule for that. And I have not yet backtested a rule that gives me better returns compared to just plain following the moving averages. So that's why I don't take profit. I would never take profit just based on individual circumstances for this trading vault. But if we have better trading rules, if I've got new backtests with new results and they outperform over time, they outperform across many asset classes, then I do it. If I want to assess how good of a strategy is a certain trading rule set, I look at the outperformance, not just overall time, like did we do better than buying and holding? I'm looking at it over different time windows, how consistent is the outperformance, and I'm also looking at it versus other asset classes and versus other assets. Does this trading approach work also not just for Bitcoin, but also for Ethereum, but also for Solana? If the answer is yes, then trading approach is probably good. Does it not just work in year 1 or 2, but does it work for all of the years? If the answer is yes, then it's probably more solid. So we want to look at how consistent is our outperformance as well, not just do we have outperformance. And if we introduce now a new trading rule to backtests, then we just have to figure out, is that new trading rule as consistent in its outperformance? If the answer is yes, we might introduce that rule and also add some profit taking. There's so much more value to come. You've only watched a small, tiny clip video. The entire episode is available over here. Just press here to watch the video.